fashionable and more commercial than it had ever been. Pleasure certainly wasn't a new discovery in the 18th century, but from the aristocracy and the gentry to the legions of property speculators, bankers, tavern owners, farmers, labourers, everyone in Britain, it seemed, was indulging in pleasure more lustily than ever before. This passion for all things novel and exciting drove the popularity of a new breed of outdoor entertainment venues where music was an essential ingredient. The prototype was to be found in one of the capital's least salubrious districts, by the banks of the River Thames. This rather unprepossessing park was once London's most glamorous entertainment venue, Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens. From 1729, under the management of a brilliant entrepreneur called Jonathan Tyers, it entertained a stream of hedonistic Londoners. This was an oasis, away from the filthy, malodorous stench of the city. Vauxhall Gardens became one of the most profitable businesses of the whole of the 18th century, with pioneering theatrical effects, hot air balloon rides, tightrope walkers and fireworks. It was a pioneer of advertising and mass catering. That said, the meat was notoriously cut so thinly you could hold it up to a candle and see through it like a cobweb. The wine was neither good nor cheap, and still people flocked here.
Part of the evening at Vauxhall was the journey, and part of the journey was crossing the River Thames, of course, because most Vauxhall's customers came from the City of London, from Westminster. And this was part of what Vauxhall Gardens was about. It separated you from reality, and you went to what they called at the time a dream world. It's almost like crossing the River Styx to get to paradise.
Pleasure gardens were essentially parks with musical entertainment. They became the ultimate meeting places of 18th century London. Men, women, children, servants, anyone could go. There was no guest list, there was no vetting process. If you paid your shilling, you were in. When you arrived at Vauxhall, you would be plunged into a fantastical world of formal gardens and fragrant walkways. 12 of you would dine together in a huge wooden box, richly decorated with the most exquisite paintings. An orchestra nearby would serenade you. It was, by all accounts, a truly magical place. Vauxhall's democracy was thrilling. Listening to the songs and orchestral pieces, everyone could believe he or she was an equal. Music made distinctions of money, class and age irrelevant.
During the instrumental music, people would promenade around the gardens, around the avenues, they'd meet their friends, they'd gossip. During the songs, they would all cluster around the central orchestra stand and listen to the songs and watch the singers, many of whom became celebrities in their own right.
With the public hungry for new music, the Pleasure Gardens became the bread and butter of many a British composer. Most popular of all were songs, charming ditties on popular themes of innocence and experience, loss and love.
On Richmond Hill there lives a lass more bright than May morn, whose charms all other maids are past a rose without a thorn. This lass so neat, with smiles so sweet, has won my right good will. I crowns resigned to call her mine. Sweet lass of Richmond Hill, sweet lass of Richmond Hill, sweet lass of Richmond Hill. I crowns resigned to call thee mine, sweet lass of Richmond Hill.
1,000 people a night coming to the gardens, they would hear these same songs again and again and again, and they would become hugely popular just by dint of repetition to this audience. And of course they produced published song sheets which were bought not only by visitors to Vauxhall Gardens, but they were circulated almost all around the world.
People also came to enjoy the seedier side of what Vauxhall offered. It was well known that the gardens were a convenient place for courtship of every kind. And Vauxhall famously had a dark alley where you could go for a romantic assignation. It was teeming with prostitutes waiting for a punter.
Round Vauxhall was always a slight frisson of risk, which I'm sure was part of the appeal. But it was also somewhere, again, where you could meet, where there was a certain level of informality, where you could see people and be seen. And that was so much part of the social scene of the 18th century that you had to be seen in order to be recognised as being part of polite society.
The gardens had such a winning formula that they were copied across the world. There were Vauxhalls in Paris, Copenhagen and Nashville, Tennessee.